Hey, how you doing? This is Kitch, and you are watching me play Factorio. I'm here on the newly commissioned beacon train, which is currently full of beacons. Let's grab a couple of more furnaces, and oh, nope, I want to stop here. I want to stop here at our science facility that we've been working on for several episodes now. And yeah, let's get back to work on this. I'm not sure what I was doing here, but I'm sure I had a very good purpose, and I'm sure I was confident that future Kitch would come and fix this, which he did. All right, so I've been reading comments on this. There's been a lot of good feedback and suggestions. A lot of them are things that I do acknowledge, and a lot of them will be addressed over time as we build this out. Some of them will not be. But yeah, there were a couple of really good ones that I think right about now is the time to look into those. One of those was made by Steven, and Steven suggested we have our tracks going on the sides like this, and instead of doing that, if we take advantage of this natural little divot coming in here and like put the track right there, and you know, even put the roboport right here, and then build up in this direction, we could actually do that a little bit closer. Couldn't we? Why not? Oh, because I have the train station. Let's not copy the train station. That's going to lock us down to that train grid, which we don't want. Yeah, there we go. But doing something like that and taking advantage of these natural divots in here to make the space between the beacons a little bit smaller. And I did some measuring between the furnaces. So this furnace to this furnace, as opposed to like this furnace to this furnace over here. And these two furnaces are actually 2 tiles closer, so that gives us a little bit more compact feel. And it may be possible to even get rid of this roboport here and bring it in even tighter, which would minimize that distance even more. What would that be? An extra tile? Yeah, an extra tile coming in to than opposed to that. There is the thing where, like, if we tucked our unload chests into here, we could unload on both sides. That's another advantage we can throw in here. Granted, we're not going to have the full chest, but I don't think we really need the full chest. But we do have the ability to do both sides. The concern that I would have would be that if we had our chests in here, the distance between the chests going this way is greater than the distance of the chests going this way. So there may be a little bit of things going on there. I don't know if that's a real concern or not. Just things that I'm thinking about, but definitely worth investigating. Another suggestion that I thought was really good that was brought forth by Matthew, and it addresses some of the things we were seeing down here, and it's been suggested a couple of more times. Matthew is just the latest and definitely the longest, and I hope I was reading this right. It's been a couple of days since I've read it, but basically the idea of breaking down the robot networks into smaller chunks rather than having one big giant one here that robots go back and forth to. Instead, breaking them up into smaller little modules, maybe for it'll allow us to have less robots, and it'll decrease travel time significantly. And what I mean by that is I don't know if we can actually see it down here. But it's definitely a thing that is. Boy, did I pull up... Did we ever have radar down there? I feel like we had radar down here at one point. I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Can I set you from space? No. Can I blueprint you from space? Like if I did a request for one radar there? Oh, what's going on with that? Oh, that's not good. Oh, we turned our artillery train off. That's right. So it could restock, and I don't think that we have restocked it. Can I not? Well, yep. Nope. Hmm. And we can't build anything. I mean, we could probably do the whole station. You know, I could have run down and just placed the thing manually and came back in this amount of time. It's not that important. But anyway, what was I talking about? I was talking about breaking up the robo ports. Yeah. Yeah, instead of basically having one big giant roboport to break it up a little bit, decreasing times, and the problem that with robots and trying to optimize one of these networks that I ran into, I do recall after watching them in one of the series that I did, that I thought it would be a better idea to place all the things randomly rather than in these little chunks. Or maybe that it wouldn't be better, but that it wouldn't really make a difference. Because even though some of these things are really close, I mean, look at these. All these logistic bots are from over here. They're traveling way over here to grab a piece of ore that they're going to put over here. And then he's going to say, oh, we need to do something with blue circuits, and then come over here. And it just, they're very poorly optimized for my taste. So breaking those up into chunks might be a way to look at that. And I'm not sure the exact size, but I do know of one application where that may be really helpful. And again, it borders on solving problems that we don't have, but it has to do with smelting. And smelting, I think, is what I want to try to concentrate on this episode. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead. We'll roll the intro, and I'll see you on the other side. Hopefully there will be video footage after. We'll see. Yeah, I'm still really kind of confused why it only rendered out 7 minutes of that video. I should have noticed that it took a really short time to render and a short time to upload. I don't know. I don't know. That was weird. But it's up now for what that's worth. All right, so a little problem that I'm thinking of. This is all of our smelters. I believe this is iron, yes, and this is the amount of steel that we need up top. And I believe we need basically 20, I think it's 26. Uh, 26 iron makers to run this steel. And the rest of these machines down here, that's the copper, that's the iron, and this is for basically everything else in the base. But yeah, no, these 26 guys right here making iron are all about feeding these steel machines. It's not true to 1-to-1 because like in up here where that 1-to-1 ratio actually works. That's because of productivity modules. We put productivity in the steel. This is actually going to produce free steel from the input, so that's why the ratio is off. But the concern that I have, it's actually something that I saw down in the bot facility, is that, so even if we limit this chest, we have to have at least one slot, and that'll hold 100 steel, I believe. And then that will back up to 100 steel inside the furnace, so we'll have 200 steel backed up, worst case scenario. And of course, these guys are going to have requests. And if we keep our smelting area together, these requester chests are going to be very close to the provider chest that these iron guys are going. So my thought is that the robots are probably going to prefer these requester chests as opposed to the requester chests we need to make green circuits or gears or pipe or anything like that. So my thought was keeping this in its own separate robot network. Even if it's shared down here with the copper, as long as this down here is in its own network, I should say, that's going to make it to where that's not going to be a problem, because we do have dedicated iron makers strictly for these steel guys here. So that should be good. You know, one thing I did not check that I need to check. Let me just bring this over here so I can actually have it on the screen. If we take steel out of the equation, how many iron makers does that make? 22.6, which is actually 23. And does that, if we leave this down here, 23. Well, that just works out swimmingly. Okay. I like it. I like it. So that is going to be 58 machines there. This giant glob right here is 64. So it would fit in something like that rather well. But we are talking about doing something like this. So let's just pull this out. And let's keep the same up and down design and just kind of move it over here so that we can work with it. So if we put you there... Well, that doesn't fit together nearly as neatly, does it? There was an easier way to do that. All right. This needs to go away. Just to keep things sort of consistent and equal, I do want my train station coming up. So you would be there-ish. It looks like there's a 1 divot and a 2 divot. So if we did the 1 divot on that side, we could tuck you up in there. And the 2 divot, if we kept that on this side, is that the size we're needing? Yes. All right, we took that up. Let's see, where is our Roboport range? That is hitting just fine. Is there a better place to put that? Looks like that would be about right. Then take you up to there. And then those beacons become those beacons. They're not covered down there. They're covered up there. And I think that is going to be our size. For at least one cell. And that could realistically stretch out that far in theory and still cover both. So let's just see what we can fit in here. Will we remember where that is? I submit that we will. So there. Actually, if we kept that one roboport, would that cover all of that? Yeah, we would have to do some shenanigans over here with these chests, but that would definitely work. And how many is that? That is 20. So if we doubled that on the other side, we may not actually be able to get that many on the other side. But I've forgotten how many of these we needed already. I think it's more than 20, and I think it's more than 40. It's 58. All right, well, how far can we take you? We can take it that far, and we can take it that far. And that is 35 machines. All right, so if we took this... and doubled it... that would be 70, because that is the way that math works. And I've forgotten how many we needed already. That's great. Was it 58? Let's just keep that right there. 56 and 2 more. So we needed that line right there. Those can go away. That can go away. And we basically just need to sneak a couple more machines in here, which can be anywhere really. All right, then we get an iron train, basically coming up here, probably in the middle, I would guess, would be the best place to do that. I probably want to take that up a little bit, maybe like right there. So that would unload ore and basically just produce steel. We would have enough room up here to throw in a couple of extras. So maybe we just need 2, right? Maybe one right there and one right there. And we'll have to redo all the inserters and stuff like that. I do know that. Well, maybe not. We'll just have to see. That would give us our 58. I have 1 train feeding it. And then we would probably... I tell you what I'd probably want to do is take out 1 or 2 of these machines somewhere in this network, probably in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3. If we took out this machine and this machine, we would no longer need those beacons, and then that would give us this little open area right there. We could fill you in a little bit better. Maybe something like that. That would still give us the correct number of machines, and then we could set up a series of these guys right here. Where would that be? Oh, are we going to have enough room? That would be a requester chest. I'll actually move it one over. Yeah, a series of these guys right here. So this would solely be dedicated to making steel. We would put a steel request. That's an intermediate products, usually. Steel request there. As this produced steel, we would have, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 chests that are requesting steel. That would be filled up, and then these inserters would move it over to this requester, which we would make sure would be in a separate robot network over here. So there is a space where that inserter is that is not in logistic range. So these actually act as two separate robot networks, and then we may have like a setup here that is making all of our science in the middle. Not the prettiest looking setup, but I think that's functional. And that gives us everything we need as far as steel is concerned. And then for the rest of the day, we need 65 machines. So we could do something very similar here. We'd have an iron train coming in here, and then we could run maybe another train on the other side and do like copper and iron and stone in that module, in a module that is very similar sized to this one, perhaps on the other side of the base. So we would have like a smelting area here and a smelting area over here. This basically mirrored over, doing the exact same thing, and in the middle have all of our production stuff. I want to get the rest of the beacons and fill them out, because right now this looks just a lot neater and cleaner than this over here, and I know it's just because the lines are shifted going back and forth that way, and it's just kind of an illusion. Actually, we could probably take this and just move it 90 degrees, and that messiness would go away. Of course, it looks a lot messier now, but as it gets filled out, that messiness would go away. And I think I may have to end up doing that just for my own sanity. Oh yeah, that looks much better. So we'd probably feed it from the top, feed it from the bottom, etc., etc. Let's see. We did blueprint off that setup, and boy, all these requesters are not correct. I'm aware of that. We did not set up power poles. I'm aware of that. This is on the wrong side of the base. For what I'm planning, I'm aware of that. All just rough drafts. Rough drafts and sketches. So yeah, we have that up there. I think all the other stuff is going to be pretty straightforward. I kind of want to look into setting these guys up now. Let's see. We had 65 of those, and we're going to have 94 of those. So that's going to be a pretty big chunk. 96. 98. Because we were going to implement those in the larger build. We can't do a lot of breaking up here because a lot of these things require many things. Unless we just had maybe like, if we had kind of like one central roboport and all of our other modules kind of branched off in those pixel directions. Or not pixel, but one space off so that they're all separate networks. We couldn't do that, but we could probably do something like that to maximize the distance a little bit more, and that would give an extra one there, an extra one there. We'd have one on the top. And then just have this middle one full of robots that are basically grabbing and moving those around. Huh. I'm wondering if this is premature optimization at its at its purest form. The steel, though, I'm almost convinced that it needs to be its own separate module because of that iron issue. Everything else, I'm kind of leaning to trying to make it at one and seeing if it works and don't fix problems that we don't have. Kind of went full circle, didn't I? Well, we'll see. I will take a think on it and maybe play with some module laying out. And I will see you in the next episode where, man, hopefully we can wrap this up. I am looking forward to it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.